My name's Raymond Barnes. I lived at the Bluebell from 1937 until 1946. I was born at the Coach and Horses in the middle in Long Street and moved to the Bluebell when I was about 18 months old. I remember the pub as being a very small bar. And underneath was a cellar which flooded regularly, and I and my brothers spent many happy hours in the middle of the night pumping water out of the cellar to make sure they didn't get into the stock of beer and whatnot. The living end of the house consisted of a kitchen and a scullery. And there was actually a well in the scullery. And to get to upstairs to my bedroom, I had to go from the living quarters through the public part of the bar to get to the stairs to go up to bed. So I can remember in my pyjamas and dressing gown, walking through the bar to the cheers of the customers going up to bed. The yard itself had no other buildings in it. It was originally a coaching inn because on the beyond the living quarters on the ground floor were 3 stables, quite big stables, and over them was a large club room, huge club room, which was a playground for my brother and I. We spent many happy hours building forts. Next door was the Maypole, which was a sort of general store, and they had processed cheese sent from Canada in rectangular boxes. It was quite strong, and we pinched these things. We got hundreds of them, and we built forts in this playground upstairs. Now, I don't know what happened to all those boxes. Hundreds of them. Anyway, I can remember that. And next door, the only other building in the yard was the bakery next door, Masters' Bakery, with a shop on the front and the house behind. And beyond that was the actual bakery. And I can remember being quite small, I suppose I'll be about 7. And my brother and I would playing around on top of the wall, and I fell through an open window onto a table. I can remember there was a lot of flour and white stuff about. And I got back home looked like a ghost. The other thing I can remember as a youngster playing, the hatting factories at behind the house on the Station Road. My brother and I and our friends found that we could climb over the main gate, and inside the main gate they stored their bales of wool, and we could climb onto the rafters and dive into these bales of wool. I don't know, we were never caught. I don't know quite why we were never caught. But anyway, that was when I was young. But upstairs at the Bluebell was the long room as I've spoken about, and the only toilet in the building was at the far end of this great long room. So if you're in the kitchen and you wanted to go to the toilet, you had to go down through the public part upstairs, past the bedroom, along this long room to the toilet at the far end. And at night it was quite spooky. There were 2 bedrooms. The front bedroom was quite a big one, which my brother and I shared with my mother, because during the war my father was in the forces, and she had one double bed, and my brother and I slept in the other double bed. And on Shrove Tuesday, it was full of people trying to look out of the window and they threw the ball out of one of those windows. And my brother and I were given pockets of coins, pennies, to throw to the crowd below. So we picked out all our friends and tried to identify. In fact, the ball was made by a cobbler who had a wooden shed just at the entrance to Vince's Row, opposite the Coach and Horses. I seem to remember he was an elderly chap with one leg, and he made the Shrove Tuesday balls while we were at the Bluebell.
Can you remember any of the people that threw the ball out?
The only one I can remember was Nell Tarleton, and I think that was 1946. It was either 45 or 46. And I've got a feeling that my father threw it out when he was on leave from the forces during the war, but I can't really remember that. I do remember one occasion when they threw the ball out and immediately someone stabbed the thing and they had to retrieve it, and one of the farmers got a pig's bladder and put inside it and blew it up again, and we threw it out again. I do remember that. The family next door, they were the Masterses. I remember the old lady wasn't very well. She was an invalid. But the Masterses part of the yard was separated by a central wall. So there was the main yard which connected Long Street with Station Street, and Masters's little yard was off to the side.
Did anybody live in houses in that rent property, or
no? There were no other houses there. All the houses that were originally in the Bluebell Yard had been pulled down before the war. Beyond the Masterses was the pop factory. I can't remember, was it irons? I can't remember. But I do remember when war broke out, my brother and I, how old would we be, about 6 or 7 or something like that? We decided our family needed an air raid shelter. And I can remember my brother and I taking shovels and digging a hole in the next door's drive one weekend. And when the pop lorries turned up to get in, they couldn't get in because there's some great hole in the middle of the drive. But we were never caught on that. We never admitted it, and we got away with it. But anyway, they eventually filled the hole in and got the lorries in. And then afterwards, the council built a proper shelter at the Station Street end of the yard. Do you remember there was an enormous, great circular static water tank in the open ground between off Station Street at the top end of the Bluebell Yard, and my friends and I, we spent many happy hours building boats out of, I think there were rafters from old buildings. The huge things they must have been about 6-7 feet long, and we sailed these things on this static water tank. So I wonder if we weren't drowned.
What school did you go to?
I went to the North Street School, and then we moved I was about 10 or 11 when we moved from the Bluebell to Nuneaton. So that would have been in 1945, 46, something like that. My father came out of the forces and almost immediately decided he wanted to change, and we went to the King William IV in Curtin Road in Leeton. I can remember that during the war the bar of the Bluebell was very small, with a sort of horseshoe-shaped bar end of it, but behind that was what they call the smoke room, which was a sort of lounge. And at weekends, the farmers brought produce in. I can remember having they had flowers and vegetables, and presented prizes. And we were never short of meat actually during the war, even though they were rationing, because at these do's the farmers brought rabbits in, and we lived on rabbit stew. And I can remember this rabbit stew, and we cooked it. It was cooked in a pot over the open fire. It was a black range with an oven on each side and a sort of hook over the top. And I can remember this rabbit stew stewing away in this pot over the fire. But and I think I got threepence for the skins. I used to take them down to the fishmongers down the road in Long Street. I've forgotten the name of it now. But I used to get threepence for the skins. And
which was a lot of money, though.
Oh yeah. My brother and I, that was our pocket money.
So what did the fishmonger use them for?
Oh, no idea. I wasn't interested.
It couldn't have been to do with the fish. So.
No, but it was. They must have sold meat as well. But to say we had plenty of rabbit stew. It was a staple.
Yeah.
Because the farmers weekends they sort of. It was their sort of day off, and they organised this sort of flower and vegetable show, and they had prizes for it. And I can remember sort of all the arrangements around the room. I forgot to mention that we had in the Bluebell, the front bedroom was quite a big room, and the stairs came up from the public part of the pub. And the other side of the stairs from the big bedroom was another smaller bedroom, which my grandmother had. She had her bed in there, but it was also the bathroom. So we had to share the bath with my grandmother. And I can remember as well it being so cold that there was ice on the inside of the windows. And I can remember quite often when I was just sent up to have a bath, just swishing the water around so my mother could hear the water swishing around, and then getting into my pyjamas and going to bed. And my mother thought that I had a bath.
It was too cold.